y'all, and welcome to our December garden tour and our recap of 2024. So I'm going to take you around the garden and we're going to talk about all the highs and the lows of our 2024 garden. All right, guys, let's go. Okay, so we're going to start here in our front flower bed because we've had a lot of exciting additions this year. So as we started off of 2024, we already had our Starry Night hibiscus were planted, and they did a beautiful show this year. Now, as you know, with hardy hibiscus, they're a little bit slow to the game, but once they started blooming, they were absolutely gorgeous. And the reasons we put these here was because we have a big drainage issue. So this area stays super, super wet, and hibiscus love this wet, boggy soil. And they did not disappoint in this area. So then moving along on the front flower bed, we had a beautiful line of incredible hydrangeas. Well, they were pretty when they first started blooming, but then they just got so bad with chlorosis and burn, and they just did not like this hot south part of our house. So what we decided to do was, while they were dormant, we dug up all those incredible hydrangeas and we moved them to the back, and we put in a line of limelight hydrangeas, and they were absolutely beautiful this year. The blossoms on the hydrangeas were like big footballs. They were so gorgeous, and paired with the Starry Night hibiscus and their big pink blooms was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm so glad that we did that. I was very nervous to move things around, but it turned out absolutely beautiful. So the next thing that we did in here was, we decided with all those big, beautiful blooms, we needed some wispy texture, something to lighten the load. And so we added in some pink muley grass. And it was absolutely gorgeous this September. Nice, big, pink, beautiful plumes on it. And next year, I'm excited because it's going to look even better. So we're going to have the big, beautiful limelight hydrangeas with that wispy texture of the pink muley grass. Absolutely gorgeous combination. Okay, so in the spring of 2024, I was so excited to plant my Supertunia Vista bubblegums. They were spectacular in 2023, and I was so looking forward to a beautiful show in 2024. So we planted a whole line of Supertunia Vista bubblegums through here, and they were beautiful for a while until we had torrential rains for 10 days in a row. And then this garden sat in rain for over 10 days. So unfortunately, all of our Supertunia Vista bubblegums, they all developed root rot, and we had to pull them all up. So it was just a learning experience. Since then, I have mounded up a layer of compost through here. So this next year, we're going to plant our plants, and they're going to be a little bit more raised. And we've also been working on trying to get the water away from the house with our gutters. So I'm very hopeful that this year in 2025, we'll be more successful with a beautiful show of Supertunia. So I'm not sure which color we're going to use yet, so y'all have to stay tuned for that. Now, another exciting thing that we did was, we went through here in this back area and we planted 140 daffodils. So this is going to be absolutely gorgeous for next year's spring. Can you just imagine? This line is going to be full of beautiful yellow, and it's just going to look like this sea of yellow going through here. So I cannot wait for all of those daffodils to bloom. Okay, so this is one of the areas that we're working on with our drainage situation. So hopefully this will keep the water from coming off of this gutter here and out of this flower bed. And so hopefully for 2025, we'll have a beautiful display of Supertunias. So one of the other exciting things that we did this year, we put in this line of boxwoods. So they're a little bit tip burned right now because it got cold on them and they were just newly planted. But we just realized that we had no winter interest in this area. So we had a line of our Blushing Bride hydrangeas, and they were doing the same thing as our Incredibles. They just did not like all of this heat. So we took them up, which is really sad to do, and we moved them to the back where it's more shady, and we put in this boxwoods. Now these are Japanese boxwoods here. The ones we have over here on the side are English boxwoods. So it'll be interesting to see the difference in color and texture and the way they grow, but we're super excited for these. And behind those, we did some quick fire fabs. And I am so excited about these hydrangeas. So they say they can get up to 8 foot tall. So I mean, we're talking like all the way up to the top of the banister here, if not taller. But we'll probably try to keep them in some size control here. But that is going to be absolutely gorgeous. We'll have our boxwoods here, our quick fire fabs back here, and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous next year. And I can't wait for you guys to see it. Okay, so over here we did the same pattern with our boxwoods over here and our quick fire fabs in the background. And then in the front, we planted some little muscari bulbs. We already have daffodils here from last year. So we're going to have these beautiful purple muscari with our yellow and white daffodils, and it's going to be so beautiful here in the spring. Now over here in this other bed, we planted something really, really exciting. So this is called a seven suns flower, or a temple of bloom. And this plant looks like it is just like all this different blooming all through the year. So in August, it's going to have beautiful white flowers. And when the petals fall off, the little calyx that's left is going to be red. And then in the fall, the leaves change colors. So it's going to be absolutely gorgeous here. It is just a baby right now, but it is going to grow up into a big, beautiful tree here in front of this window. And I'm so excited for it. So we can't wait to see our temple of bloom grow up into a big, beautiful tree. So one of our newest additions to our garden is we added 2 hose links in, and these have been such a game changer. I was struggling pulling these hoses back and forth, but with this hose link, it makes it super, super simple. We added this 4x4 post, this cute little top piece here, and it has been so wonderful. And it makes me want to get outside and garden even more because it makes it so much easier. So if you don't have one of these, make sure to treat yourself, because you definitely, if you're a gardener, you definitely need a hose link in your life. So this year I was able to get my hands on 18 chrysanthemums. So this is what it looks like here in the fall, winter time. But these are going to be absolutely gorgeous next year. I have a whole line of these planted all within our Woodland area, all different colors, and I cannot wait to see these. Sometimes you can even get a second flush of blooms. And so we have them all through here. They are going to be absolutely gorgeous. While we're in our Woodland area, I want to take you up front and show you our beautiful shrubs up there. Okay, so over here we have our false hollies. These have done absolutely beautiful this year. This one did suffer with a little bit of a rust, and we were able to treat it and remove the area that was diseased, and it is coming back so beautiful. But these were absolutely gorgeous. I wanted to use these this Christmas in some of my Christmas arrangements, but I got very, very sick in December, and I was not able to do that. But that is okay, because we're going to have these for next year, and they're going to be so beautiful in our Christmas arrangements. We also have our beautiful gardenias that are going to smell so beautiful next year, along with our carex grass, which just adds that beautiful pop of white. And so I think this is a beautiful combination over here, because we're just adding more life into this little woodland area. And one day as these plants mature, they are going to be absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I know it's very hard to see and everything's kind of covered up with pine straw and leaves, but we kind of have to use our imagination. But over here, we have our Beyond Midnight Bluebeard. Now this plant is going to get big, beautiful blue blossoms, and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous next year. And then over here, we have our camellia, and this is going to have big, pretty white blossoms. It's going to be so gorgeous here. Can you just imagine to have this big, huge camellia one day? that's like overtowering this space with big, beautiful white blooms. I can't wait for it to get bigger and to grow and fill in this space. So now that we've kind of finished up in our front area, let's head over to the back where we've had a really big transformation this year. Okay, y'all, so welcome to our backyard. And this is probably the place that's had the most transformation this year, because last year, this area over here was just dirt, literally dirt. So this is the area that we're calling our cottage garden that we've really focused a lot on this year. And so when I did our series of videos with my flower friends, this was my garden dream, was my cottage garden. So we started off like every good flower bed starts off with an infrastructure. So we had to come in here and add topsoil. We added compost. We added mulch. So there was a lot of adding and amending to this soil. And then we started adding plants. So the first plant that we added in this area was our tall guy arborvitae. So that was in February of last year. And they were just little guys, and they have grown so much. They were about that big, and so they've put on that much growth this year. I am so proud of them. They did not stress with our heat. They did not stress with the water. They have done so beautiful here in this area, and I can't wait for them to get big and tall and create a beautiful screen here in our cottage garden. Okay, so over here, this is called our shade flower bed, and this one has went through a lot of transformation as well. This, when we got started, was absolutely all rock. So me and my daughter Savannah painstakingly took out all of the rock, well, most of it. You'll still see some in there. We added it full of topsoil and compost, and then we started putting in our shade-loving plants. So I have found out that I love hostas, and I love the lungworts, and I love hydrangeas, and all of these do so beautiful here in this flower bed. And one of the things I love to add in here to give it that pop of color is impatiens. So this year we did a multicolored array of impatiens in here, and they were big and beautiful. They were just absolutely stunning. So one of the things we did struggle with in this flower bed was snails. And so we're learning how to use different things to help to combat them, because they do like to eat on our hosta leaves. So as we go along, you'll definitely see different transformations in this flower bed, and I think it's a neat place that we can try out our shade plants, and we can also try out different shade-loving annuals. Okay, so let's take a little stroll through our cottage garden, and I want to show you the 3 things that I absolutely love this year in the cottage garden. So one of the first things that was absolutely gorgeous this year was our David Austin roses. So in February, I received 3 David Austin roses for Valentine's Day from my sweetie, and they were absolutely gorgeous. I can say this, it seemed like it took a little while for them to kind of set their roots in, but once they did, they were absolutely beautiful. So we have the Lady of Shalott, absolutely gorgeous, probably the best performer in the garden. We had the Claire Austin, which is a climbing rose, beautiful white rose, absolutely gorgeous, and probably the best smelling one of all of them. And then we had the Alnwick rose. And out of the 3, the Alnwick rose was the slowest to get going and producing blooms. But once it did, they did not disappoint. It was like in September, they had this second flush of these big, beautiful pink blooms. They were absolutely gorgeous. So that's my number 1 thing for my cottage garden. So my second favorite plant in our cottage garden this year was the Senorita Rosalita. It was absolutely beautiful. The pollinators loved it, the bees, the butterflies. It had beautiful purple blossoms all over it, and they lasted all summer long. And they also did really well with all of the rain that we got and all of the heat. They were one of the top performers here in our cottage garden this year. The third top performer that we had was our Vermillionaire. Absolutely gorgeous. It had thousands of orange blossoms all over it. Some people, they call it a cigar plant because they do look like these little tiny cigars. But the pollinators, this was probably their favorite plant. So they, bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. So we've never had hummingbirds in our garden before, but this year, because of this plant, the vermillionaire, we actually had hummingbirds. We were all absolutely so excited when we saw our first hummingbird on this plant. Okay, guys, so I'm actually going to add in a fourth thing, if you'll let me. So this was the fourth thing that I loved in our cottage garden this year, was our apricot drift rose. And I loved it so much that I bought another one for the other side of the garden. This rose bloomed all spring and summer, and it smells beautiful. So if you need an easy, low maintenance rose to grow, get you an apricot drift rose. Absolutely gorgeous in the garden, and a top performer, disease resistant, super hardy. You cannot go wrong with this plant. So this area here I call my side pool garden, and these are some of our older plants that we have in our garden, which are 2 years old. So we have our beautiful pink muley grass, which was absolutely gorgeous. September is really its time to shine. And then also our little lime punch hydrangeas, absolutely gorgeous. So they start off with these white blooms that slowly fade over to this tropical pink color in the fall. They were so gorgeous. And then we added in this year some of our catmint. So we did the Walker's Low Catmint. So it has a big, pretty purple blossoms that look so beautiful with those tropical colors of the little lime punches. And then we added in some little Shasta daisies for that little pop of sunny white with a little yellow center. So this flower bed here was absolutely gorgeous, and it just goes to show you that each year as the garden gets a little bit more mature, it starts looking a little bit more big and full and gorgeous. Okay guys, so I want to take you to the backyard and show you our future projects for 2025. Okay, so this is one of the projects that we started this year, and this is going to be my kitchen garden. So my sweet hubby came in here and put in this beautiful picket fence for me. And then we have our big, tall Vigo garden, which is a 32-inch garden bed that's going to be in here. And then we have our smaller 17-inch bed from Epic Gardening. And I'm so excited to be able to start this kitchen garden. So this is one of the things that we're going to be working on for this year. So as you join me in projects, this will be one of the projects that we'll be working on. So if you're interested in doing a kitchen garden, make sure you stay tuned so you can see all the exciting updates on this. So this is also our little cute bunny barn. And this year for Christmas, we were able to add these beautiful little lemon cypress. And my daughter was so sweet while I was sick, and she added in these beautiful evergreens and berries from our yard, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous here for Christmas. So this is one of the areas that we had a lot of work done on this year. So we had to have some trees removed. We had a tree in the front of our yard that was, the roots were going into our water main for our house. So we had to have that one removed. We also had some trees removed in our backyard, and then we also had some trees removed in this area. So we had an old scrubby cedar tree that was over here, and then we just had a lot of junk and debris and this big, huge mound of dirt. So we were able to get that smoothed down, and then we've come in here and added in some pine straw, and I've added 3 El Nino chatalpas, and I am so excited about these plants. I cannot wait to see them grow. So we have one right here, and I know it's very tiny and a little baby, and then we have one over here, and then we have one over here on the other side. So these are going to get to be 8 to 10 foot tall. They're going to be so beautiful here with big, beautiful pink blossoms that I hear smell absolutely beautiful. So I'm so excited about that. So these are our raised bed soil here for our kitchen garden. So this is part of that project here. But I also want to show you guys in the back of our property, it has also went through a lot of transformation. Okay, y'all, so we're going to end our video here in our backyard today. So we have 1.2 acres here, and we were able to go through, my hubby and my daughter and our and our guys who help us with our cutting down our trees. We're able to go through and just clear out a lot of the brush in between the trees and a lot of the little tiny trees. So what our goal is to let the big trees get bigger and take down a lot of the smaller trees that are just taking up space. And we also want to add some areas in here in our woodland area. So this area back here is what I want to walk back to, and I'll let you guys see that area. So this area, we were able to take down a lot of the brush. Before we did, you could not walk into this area, but now you can walk in here. And in this wood area, I want to add more of like this natural feel and this place for animals to kind of have a habitat. And my friend Lynn Purse, she has an area like that. And her woodland garden is absolutely beautiful. So we have some old stumps that I want to use, and we have some native ferns that we want to put in here, but just have a beautiful woodland area that you can just come and walk in. And as the trees get back their leaves, it'll be this beautiful canopy. So it'll be a nice place to come in the summer when it gets super hot when you're out here in the sun. So this is just going to be a little fun area to develop. And if you have an area like this on your property, definitely let me know in the comments down below if you have any tips or suggestions on making a woodland garden. So these are two new additions that we have to our family this year. This is Miss Charlotte, and they came in the spring right at Easter. And this is Miss Opal, and they were just little tiny babies when we got them.
She's a lavender Orpington.
So she's a lavender Orpington, and she lays kind of tannish colored eggs. And then Miss Charlotte here just started laying eggs, and she has kind of an olive green color. But yeah, they're two sweet little girls. So they just hang out together and get dirty. They're sweet. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this December garden tour of 2024 and for our recap of 2024. Thank you so much for being here with me. When we got started here this year, we only had a few flower friends, and now we have over 1,000 flower friends. And I have had so much fun getting to know each and every one of you. Thank you so much for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, and make sure to stick around for this year, for 2025, because we have a lot of things to do. Our garden is pretty much still a blank slate, so you'll get to come along with us as we're developing this property here in coastal North Carolina. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Bye, friends.